After 3 months, my rack's finally here, so we're putting the rack on. Top of the back hoop, front hoop, bars that go down from the back hoop, and brackets to mount the back. Waiting a long time to get all these parts right. I'm going to get all this unwrapped, figure out how it goes on, and we'll be back with you guys. That's basically what you can get if you order the front and rear hoop kit from Cargo Master. The bars that go across the top are separate, but this is where we start. Okay. The front hoop actually mounts to, goes through the bolts that are already on the windshield. And I also ordered the Catwalk, and the Catwalk attaches to that. So we're going to actually open the Catwalk before we start installing it to make sure that we got that order, because I don't want to have to pull stuff back out that I don't have to. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, I think we're good. We didn't need to do that, but we did, so it's done. I need to change tripods. All right, so you start just by pulling all these bolts out. There's one down here in the bottom that you leave in. Then they give you these nylon washers. Just go right back into the old holes. Again, ×2, both sides. All right, now we just try to hand that thing over. This is where it takes a ×2 people. Let's see if I can get this shot. Woohoo! That worked almost perfect. Wait, let's get it a little better for you. Yeah. Alright, I was having some technical difficulties with the bolt. Whatever that screw the bolts go into in there is just spinning in my Jeep. Not the rack, is my Jeep. Yeah. Didn't have any problems with any of the other ones but the one. So we was fighting with that, so I turned off the video because it just kept running. We're going to start on the rear now. The way the rear works is, I don't know if you can see. I'm going to go get a light, I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. I don't know if you can see or not, but there's 2 bolts right here. These 2 bolts that hold the bumper on. And what happens is you take this bracket, and this bracket attaches in those 2 bolt holes and then comes up and over the bumper right there, and then you bolt the rack down in. So what we're going to do now is pull these 2 bolts off and get ready to put this bracket on. Alright, the bolts are out, and then they give you these little spacers. So that spacer goes right there, right? But it's going to fall on my face if I leave it. And then you take the bracket and you get a little forceful with your bumper and just pull down. And then this slides into place. The spacer goes in there. And then you don't get your screws ready ahead of time because that would make too much sense. And you go right back into the factory holes. All right, life lesson. Those holes right there, that's what goes on top of the bumper, and these bolts go through there. So if you actually put the bolts in, that spacer in, and put the bolts into the frame before you put these in, you can't get these in. So I have to take those bolts back out. So slide these. Slide those like that right after you get it in before you start tightening stuff back up. Otherwise you're gonna be all messed up. So yeah, don't do what I did. Okay, for the legs that go up, these bobbers, they got these bushings that press into that hole. And this metal rod that goes through it. I suppose you're probably supposed to use a vise. I don't have a vise. So what we did was quick grip it. My camera keeps stopping recording and I don't know why. I think my memory card's getting full. Anyways, and then we hit it with a hammer. I don't know if that's the best way to do it or the smartest way to do it. But yeah, getting these in that hole is not easy. So get a vise or something. Once it's satisfactory in there, I smack the shit out of it with a hammer. Dead blow. Okay, and then this piece, once it's all pressed in there, just bolts onto this piece with simple bolts. Step. So these little brackets here just drop onto the screws that were going through in the bracket that went to the frame and came up and over the bumper. If you have a steel bumper or a different bumper, then these will actually just mount and you'll just drill through and go into your bumper, and then it's got the bolts and you'll bolt it on. But I saw a factory bumper, so these are going to go onto those brackets. So we're going to go drop these on and then slide the hoop on. There's 4 holes. It says figure that out later. So we'll do that after we got the tops on and go from there. That's what we're going to do now. All right, the catwalk just bolts into those 2 holes right there that are already in it. So we're gonna do that real quick too.
That looks good.
That's all there is to the catwalk. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
Supposed to have 4 of these. There's only 2. Cargo Master is literally incompetent and impossible to get all your parts from. This is the 4th rack that's been shipped to me. Luckily, I haven't sent one of them back yet. So we're gonna turn it and grab the parts we need. Okay, we have all the parts now. These are pretty simple. They just go on and then these clamp over the front and rear bars. We're gonna have to leave them loose because they can slide this way, and then we're gonna build the basket or the rack that I got for the top, and that'll determine our in and out. So these are just gonna kind of get roughly set up there for now, and we'll go from there. Okay, now that we got those on, we have those 4 holes. We can see that the rack it's leaning forward and it's unlevel, so we're going to pull it out and shove them in the right hole. Right there in that area somewhere. Yeah, right there. That's what we're going to do. This is the 4th one of these I had to have them send me to get the right parts. I highly suggest if you're buying a rack or something like that, don't buy Cargo Master. But anyways, this is the basket that goes on top. We're going to throw it together real quick, and then that'll adjust our bars, and we'll be done. I'm almost out of words, right? They've sent these things to me so many times. This is the first one that showed up with hardware, and this is what I get. Now, given it might not have been Cargo Master shipping, right? But so we're going to take the duckbills to it and the hammer, and I'm just going to fix it. But yeah. So basically there's these little slots, and the sides and the front and back have these notches in it. You just slide those in there.
I only weigh, I've lost a lot of weight. I weighed myself, I only weighed 200 pounds yesterday.
Can you get up there?
No, I can't pick up my legs high enough. Oh, I can measure it from this center piece.
Okay.
Oh my god. 20. They should make a seat that attaches to it. So when you're filming for people, you know what I'm talking about.
I love my son. Okay, it's been about a week since we installed the Cargo Master Safari rack on the Jeep, and I just wanted to give a quick review of the installation and what I think after the first week. If you're running into this video by itself and you want to watch the installation, the link will be down in the description. Okay, overall installation was really easy. It took us 3 hours, and that included moving the camera around and you know, positioning things, and we took our time, and we, you know, just kind of enjoyed the nice day because it's winter. And it only took us 3 hours. And that also included putting on the catwalk and the roof pack, which aren't part of the actual rack kit. So 3 hours total. So definitely, if you allow 3 hours in time, you should have plenty of time to do it. And everything's pretty straightforward. Instructions suck, but it's all self-explanatory. I would have a second person with you to hand stuff over. Seems easy. They don't have to be real mechanically inclined or really have to do anything other than catching in or carrying in for you. And that's the, you know, in individual pieces, it's fairly light. So, but I would definitely try to. You could do it by yourself. I could have done it by myself, but it was a lot easier having Keaton help me. My only problem with the installation came from my Jeep is the front hoop and the catwalk mount to the hinge screws of the windshield. And I don't know if it's because I used a rattle gun or if because it was just already a pre-existing problem, but one of those spun loose on me, and because of that, the bolt can't be tightened or loosened. I don't know what I'm gonna do to fix it yet. Right now I just kind of put some tape around it, shoved it in the hole so it held tight, because there is a bolt on there. It's not gonna come all the way out. But again, that's not the rack's fault. It's not Cargo Master's fault. It was a problem with the Jeep. On the installation side, the only thing that was super unhappy about was none of the bolts are powder coated or painted. Everything's silver. They come in a bag from Fastenal with a sticker on them that say Cargo Master. So it's the same thing that we could buy anywhere. And you know, painting it seems like a simple thing, right? I could just rattle can it, but that stuff never turns out well. And if you want it to turn out well, you have to really do a lot of prep work. And I'm not gonna do all that work on the screws. Like that's out. It'd take longer to actually prep those appropriately than it did to install the rack. And I think at this price point, I expect more. You know, you should too. So I'd be aware of that it's going to come like that. Either set aside the time and the energy to paint those things, or you know, just don't order the rack. But overall, the installation was easy. Quality of the product I feel is on par. The rack itself, the powder coating was great. Everything feels heavy duty. I like the 2-inch look and feel, and it was great. I wasn't careful with anything installing it. I was smacking it with wrenches and stuff. Nothing scratched. You know, it got normal rubs marks like it would. And then when we took it out driving, I took it through brush and timber, and we strapped stuff to the roof. And I wasn't careful with it. I treated it like, you know, it was a couple of years old, and nothing scratched, nothing wore through, and you know, so it held up. Like, given it was only a week, but I was pretty rough with it, and all the powder coating and stuff held up pretty well. The catwalk itself, I love that thing. Keaton walked across it to put the rack on and to put stuff on the roof, and it worked out well. It worked out perfect. It held his weight. He's 200 pounds, give or take, and it handled it just fine. Super happy with that. The roof pack, the basket on top of it. If you watched or are watching the installation video, the thing looks chintzy, right? Like I'm picking it up and moving it and flipping it around. And I want you to be aware that that's how it's supposed to be. It's advertised as a lightweight option for a roof basket. It is just that. It's super lightweight. Now the bars that mount it to the rack and that you can strap to, they're pretty heavy duty. They're like 3/16 steel. And those are like heavy duty, which is what you'd want to be heavy duty. The basket itself, super thin aluminum, so it doesn't weigh anything, right? You know, it's super light. I'm actually really pleased with that. Again, it looks worse than it is, but be aware that that's what you're getting as a lightweight option. Don't expect some heavy duty piped, you know, tubed grr of a basket. It's a lightweight option. Mine's probably gonna hold my spare tire till I can afford a bumper to hold the extra weight of my spare tire. But you know, I'm really happy with what that is, so don't be misled by that. The only other big concern I know people have is wind noise. I didn't notice any new wind noise. I mean, I did a minimal amount, but it was very minimal. I've had other racks on other vehicles and other Jeeps, and I've noticed a lot more wind noise. The wind noise on this seemed to be very minimal. I don't know why. I don't know if it's thicker tubing, what it is, but it was minimal. The the little handles on the front hoop seem to be the biggest source of wind noise, and I noticed that basically when I rolled down the window more. And we took it down the interstate, so I did 85, 80, 85, 75. The speed limit was 75. I was doing 75 in it, and I didn't notice any wind noise. Like, again, I did notice wind noise, but I didn't notice any more than I would with anything else, and it was nothing that drove me nuts. I was actually super impressed with the lack of increased wind noise. So I think that's a definite thumbs up for the rack. The other thing to be super aware of is that this rack is the 2-inch piping. Because of the way it's designed, most of the things that bolt onto it are going to be proprietary. So it's not as easy as going to other manufacturers and buying a bunch of parts to bolt stuff onto the rack. And if you do want to do that, you have to order more stuff from Cargo Master so you can mount normal crossbars on it and stuff like that. So it's going to be additional costs. So be aware of that going into it, that you're not going to be able to mount things to it like you might some other racks. Because that could be a big turnoff because it's a lot of expense, or you have to manufacture those things. I have an ARB awning that I want to put on, and I'm having to manufacture all the brackets and stuff to mount that, but I knew about that ahead of time. But so you should be aware of that ahead of time, that you're not gonna be able to mount stuff to it as easy, and that might be a huge turnoff, because, you know, who wants to mess with that? And some people want to mess with it. So I wanted this look, I like the aesthetics, and then I do like that it's so modular, but you know, it's a give or take there in that department. All of that said, I will never ever order anything from Cargo Master ever again. Cargo Master Safari sent this rack to me 4 times. That's not an exaggeration. I'm not trying to be impactful with that. Literally 4 times that rack showed up. And the problem is they weren't sending parts. And it is actual like parts. Like this isn't, I ordered it through Extreme Terrain, but it was showing up without parts. Like major parts, components, big things that you need to install the rack. If it happened one time, that's a one-off thing, and I can be forgiving of that. Extreme Terrain was understanding, and they did send the stuff to me and work with me as best they could to fix the issue. I wasn't super happy with them just because it was coming from them, but they also didn't act surprised that it was coming from Cargo Master, right? And after all this ordeal, 3 months long, you know, I'm okay with Extreme Terrain. I think they handled it appropriately and dealt with me appropriately, but I will never order Cargo Master again because the stuff showed up with Cargo Master logo on it, strapped with black. It was coming from Cargo Master incomplete, right? And then they were just shipping it to me. And that's super disappointing. Again, if they have one time, one off, 4 times is ridiculous. And even the rack that you actually saw installed, or that I got installed, didn't have all the parts in it. I had to go and cannibalize one of the ones that I hadn't sent back yet. Again, it's super ridiculous. I'll never order from them again. That combined with the bolts all being just silver crap bolts, it just nothing, you know, it takes away from the aesthetics of the whole thing, and it's irritating to me. I think at this price point we could expect more, and from a company I definitely expect to get the parts that I ordered, and it shouldn't take 3 months to get a rack that's ordered. It definitely shouldn't take 4 tries to get all the parts to you. So they're literally just throwing these things in boxes and shipping them out to people. That's my opinion. Do your own research if you can order from them. See if I'm a limited experience. My research has said that that's not a limited case, but you know, look into it before you go. But if you do decide to go with them, I think you are going to get a quality product. And yeah, just be aware of the biggest thing is going to be that stuff doesn't mount to it very easily. So be aware of that. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, guys and gals. You know, whatever. Thanks for watching, guys, gals, everybody. I'm going to have to cut all that out. So when you see me do this, I just cut out a bunch of stuff by ramblings. Anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. I did it again. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you hated it, give me a thumbs down. Either way, leave a comment, right? So I know what's going on. I'm just a fat old bald guy, right? So, but I enjoy doing this, and I want to do some more, and I'd like to get better at it because I like to be as good as I can at everything that I endeavor to do. So if you leave comments and stuff, you know, explaining to me what I'm doing right and wrong, makes things a lot better. If you have questions, write them down there. I'll get to them. If not, I got Keaton on that, and Keaton helps with everything. So we'll get you your answers that you need and go from there. Thanks for watching.